Hello everyone. It's Mr. Skin, and it's April Fool's Day. So thanks for joining us today. I thought for April Fool's, I was trying to come up with what can I talk about on April Fool's Day, and we're doing a cool promotion at the front page of Mr. Skin of the notable body double scenes in movie history. So it got me to thinking of what I consider some of the big, important moments in body double nudity. Now, I'm not an advocate of body doubles. I would prefer if the actress actually did the nude scenes, but history has had many famous moments where an actress did something that the general public would think it was her, and then you find out later on that it was done by a body double. So I'm going to run you through the history of great moments in body double nudity in honor of April 1st, April Fool's Day. So let me start with the earliest, and that is 1934. The first known instance of a body double was in the movie Tarzan and His Mate, starring, it actually was Maureen O'Sullivan, who was Mia Farrow's mom, by the way, back in 1934. And there was a scene about 41 minutes in where Maureen O'Sullivan and Tarzan, she takes her clothes off and jumps in the water. Well, that scene was done by Josephine McKim, a member of the 1928-1932 Olympic swim team. And we actually talk about it in this documentary behind me, Skin, A History of Nudity in the Movies. And it's the first known instance of a celebrity using a body double for a nude scene. It was also one of the last nude scenes for about 30 years with the Hays Commission, and 1932, 33, 34 era was when it got totally shut down and we were done with nudity in American cinema for quite some time. So fast forward to 1967 when nudity was okay again, and the movie The Graduate came out. And what's interesting is that scene with Dustin Hoffman and Anne Bancroft. Anne Bancroft was only like 8 years older than Dustin Hoffman, but he had such a baby face look to him, and she looked more mature, and they were able to pull it off that he was going to hook up with the mom of his true love. And a couple things from that as far as body doubles go. The famous promotional still for the film, where you see Dustin Hoffman in the background and Mrs. Robinson's shapely leg. Well, the leg in that photo did not belong to Anne Bancroft. It belonged to a then unknown model, future actress named Linda Gray, who actually played Mrs. Robinson in a London stage musical of The Graduate. But Linda Gray is best known for playing the character of Sue Ellen in Dallas in the 1980s. And even that scene at the 16-minute mark where she traps Dustin Hoffman in the bedroom, and you see flashes of breasts, that wasn't her. She actually used a body double for that. So that was one of the early, after we returned to normalcy after the 30s, when finally in the 60s you saw nudity in movies. The Graduate was a big one. Another one, and I love this scene. I actually went back and watched it this morning because I love the movie, but Dressed to Kill in 1980 with Angie Dickinson. And what's interesting about this one, how they did this body double, is so the famous shower scene at the beginning of the movie is Angie Dickinson behind the glass. But as she fantasizes while her husband's shaving, the close-up vagina shot while she's fantasizing is Victoria Lynn Johnson, a 1977 Penthouse Pet of the Year. So it's one of those instances where some is the actress and some is a body double. Still a very sexy scene, famous moment in body double nudity here on April Fool's Day, but not all of that was Angie Dickinson. So, but go back and watch it. It's really great. Another big moment in body double, this wasn't nude, but it's famous, is that movie poster for 1990's Pretty Woman with Richard Gere and Julia Roberts. So this got a lot of play in the 90s. This was before Photoshopping was a big deal, but they took the Shelley Michelle was her name. They took her body and then kind of superimposed Julia Roberts' head on the movie poster for Pretty Woman. So that was kind of a big deal when it was found out later on that that's what happened. But it's interesting, like who did the photoshopping in 1990 of that? So, but it was a famous thing I've talked about often in the 90s. I will say, if you watch that movie again at the hour and 35-minute mark, when Richard Gere and Julia Roberts are in bed, kind of through the bed posts or the framing of the bed, you do see Julia Roberts' breasts for a split second. It's her only nudity of her career. So pretty cool. But yeah, Pretty Woman with Richard Gere and Julia Roberts. That was Shelley Michelle's body on the movie poster. The breast at the hour and 35-minute mark was Julia Roberts. Also, another one that I get asked a lot about as we move more into the modern era of body double nudity is if you know Katie Mixon, who's on that show American Housewife, a bunch of other things. But remember Eastbound and Down? And long before Vice Principals, Danny McBride starred on this HBO show that I'm a big fan of, Eastbound and Down. And in the season 1 finale, so they were like high school sweethearts, and they kind of rekindled their romance. And the memorable moment that follows there in the car where Katie Mixon takes her top off, so many people think that was her, and I get that all the time, and I always have to say, no, I'm sorry, that was a body double. She's admitted it in interviews. And, you know, with body doubles, if you don't see the face with the body, it's especially up till, and I'll get into this at the end, you need to see the face with the body to be sure. But that was a definite body double, and she's admitted it in interviews. Another one that people ask me a lot about in body doubles nudity is Isla Fisher. Remember Wedding Crashers in 2009, where her character, I think she played Gloria, is having sex with Vince Vaughn. Sexy scene, great movie from 2009. It wasn't her. That was pretty obvious body double. She's admitted it in interviews also. But unfortunately, Isla Fisher still has yet to do a nude scene. So it is a shame, but that definitely wasn't her in Wedding Crashers. Now, another one is I get a ton of, and I understand, is Mila Kunis. A lot of people think she's done nudity, and she's probably one of the actresses that at our website that people are would most want to see do a nude scene. But there was a 2011 movie she did with Justin Timberlake where he actually showed his butt called Friends with Benefits. And her character shows butts, but she had a pinch sitter, someone who did the body double scene for her. Even the Forgetting Sarah Marshall, where she showed her breasts in a picture, was not Mila Kunis, unfortunately. So no nudity in her career yet, even though her character has done a number of nude scenes in different things. So that's it. And then I did want to mention one other modern day body double scene that's pretty famous that people remember is Gwyneth Paltrow in Shallow Hal. And the Farrelly brothers confirmed even on their DVD commentary track that Gwyneth Paltrow used a body double. But it was very obvious to us when it came out. We were right on top of that at the website. But yeah, that scene, and that movie did really well, and that was a sexy scene. And it's too bad that wasn't Gwyneth Paltrow, because she's done nudity in other things, Shakespeare in Love probably being the most famous. But yeah, Gwyneth Paltrow in Shallow Hal, body double, modern day famous moment in body double nudity. But one, before I get in, wrap this up, I did want to mention Death Becomes Her in 1992, which is the one of the strangest body double scenes of all time. And the reason is because the actress who actually did, or the body double person herself, actually went on to become very famous years later. And it's the scene at the hour 19-minute mark of the 1992 movie Death Becomes Her, where Isabella Rossellini's character is getting out of the water, walking towards Bruce Willis. Well, at the time, Catherine Bell, now this is 4 years before she became a a big TV star in the CBS show Jag, as Catherine McKenzie, was an unknown, basically a body double. And she actually did that nude scene for Isabella Rossellini, and it is one of the only times in the history of movies that I could think of where the body double is actually someone you'd want to see nude more than even the person she was doing it for, which doesn't happen. So in other words, the body double became probably more famous to American audiences and very beautiful than the actual actress she did the nude scene for. So that's Death Becomes Her from 1992. One of the strangest body double scenes of all time. And, last but not least, I did want to mention body doubles have always been pretty easy for us to recognize through either common sense, don't see the face with the body. We find out later in, stories about the movie and stuff. But one of the things that's really challenging, and I'm going to track it back to 2011, is the whole use of CGI nudity. And the reason I say 2011 is because the movie The Change Up with Jason Bateman and Ryan Reynolds came out. And Leslie Mann does a nude scene, and they I think they play the Poison song, Cherry Pie, and her character walks out. Now in 2011, we weren't prepared for this, but they literally, in post-production, had Leslie Mann either her head attached to a body or they did something, but it obviously wasn't Leslie Mann. Not that she's not beautiful, and I wouldn't want her to see her do that nude scene, but it was all CGI, and it was very difficult to tell, especially at the time. But that was kind of the first instance of CGI that we know of in a movie, and it kind of changed the game. And fast forward a few years to 2015, where Lena Headey this is probably the greatest you could call it the CGI nude scene of all time, is Lena Headey, Cersei Lannister in the season 5 episode 10 Game of Thrones, doing her Walk of Atonement. It's stunningly incredible nudity. Like, if that was Lena Headey, it would just blow your mind that she would have done that in front of hundreds of extras, and as the queen, with the shame behind her. It just so graphic, so like she was so vulnerable, like crazy scene, right? But it was actually done by a 24-year-old actress model from England named Rebecca Van Cleef, who, by the way, if you look her up, she's a beautiful actress. But they took her body and her nudity and attached Lena Headey's head to Rebecca Van Cleef. So unfortunately, anyone who saw that famous nude scene in the last episode of the 5th season of Game of Thrones, it wasn't Lena Headey, it was Rebecca Van Cleef, and it solidified something we're going to have to deal with for years to come, and as they get better and better at it, is CGI nudity. It's a whole new ball game. And anyway, I want to thank everyone for joining. I'd like to keep it short, 15 minutes. And this was in honor of April Fool's Day, my walk through body double history for nudity, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.